You're listening to the Smart Women in Business podcast, episode number 51.
Hello, you're listening to the Smart Women in Business podcast. My name is Jane Mackay, and on this show, we talk to smart women in business all over the world about starting, building, and creating the life and business of your dreams while having incredibly honest, in-depth, and rich conversations with amazing women in business who will inspire you to become smart women in business.
Hello and welcome to the Smart Women in Business vlog and podcast. I'm your host, Jane Mackay from Jane Mackay Communications, marketing consultant and coach who works with people across the world to build the business of their dreams. Today, it is my absolute pleasure to be talking to a woman I'm lucky enough to call a friend, Kerryn Vaughan. Kerryn is an international speaker, author, facilitator, and podcast host. Kerryn's award-winning book, Magnificent Kids, was the catalyst to her founding the global organisation One Planet Classrooms, which facilitates projects such as clean water solutions and student sponsorship programs to schools and communities in Africa. In 2018, Kerryn launched Girls with Hammers, which hosts conferences and workshops aimed at empowering and connecting women. And in 2019, Kerryn released her second book, Get Off the Bench, to help people bring their ideas to life. The Get Off the Bench podcast came to life in 2020 after a number of false starts and a stint of despair, which I can't even imagine. Kerryn talks about courage, stepping up, embracing failure, creating a better world, and standing in your truth. Her work with clients is designed to help people kickstart their idea and to consider what lies on the other side of possibility. Kerryn delivers in a brutally honest, kick-ass way that only Kerryn can. So strap yourselves in for a fast-paced adventure, because when Kerryn and I get together, it's never quiet.
How are you, Jane?
I'm good, thanks, Kerryn. How are you?
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I'm so happy to have you here because you are one of the most incredible women I've ever met. But please tell me about your journey. I usually say business journey, but your journey is so much bigger than that. I love it how you'll be having a conversation with Kerryn. I'll just preface this with you having a conversation with Kerryn, and she'll just drop things like, I was on a Zoom with the Dalai Lama the other day. And you go, what? You're so humble. So please tell me about your evolution, Kerryn.
Yeah, I think it's funny, isn't it, that we take things for granted, and it's I do often think I've got a boring life, and then I sit back and I think, actually maybe I haven't. Maybe there's some great stuff. But basically, it started out, I won't give you the whole boring life story, but basically I was a normal kid and I just wanted to play guitar. I just wanted to be a rock star, and because my neighbour Edna yodeled, and I had this dream of being a yodeler. You don't want to hear me yodel. It's not pretty.
I think I've heard you yodel.
So I ended up playing guitar at 7, and I was going to be a rock star, and that was all there was to it. And at 21, I remember getting my job as a postie, and the postmaster then said, "What do you want to be? Like, what's your career, whatever your aspirations?" And I said, "I'm going to be a rock star." He said, "Well, you're working at Australia Post," or it was the PMG back then, I said, "Yes, but I'm still going to be a rock star." So I absolutely had my mind on it. And this I think came from when I was a kid. I was an inventor, and everybody poo-pooed everything I did. It was kind of like, oh my God, she's at it again now. What's she inventing? And when I became, like in my teenage years and subsequently early adulthood, started playing music, I started getting this is how sad life is. I started getting appreciation. I started getting people going, "Oh, she's so cool." And so I was getting all this approval, whereas I hadn't had it before for my inventions. And so I kind of went down that path. Anyway, then all about Kerryn, and then my sister got cancer when I was in my 30s, and then it became a real turning point. It's kind of like, wow, suddenly life's not about me. I've got to look beyond me. I've got to do bigger things. And I spent 5 years trying to save a life, and I'm the oldest in the family. It was my job, that's how we sort of look at things. And anyway, I saw it that I failed. She died, and I saw, well, I didn't do what I was supposed to do and protect her. So sort of sent me on a whole journey of, I don't know, self-discovery, or just what's the meaning of life? What do I do with this? And the local people in the town, said, why don't you come and join Relay for Life, which was a cancer council thing. And I thought, well, that's good. I can leave a legacy. And so I overachieved, and took on too many roles as I do. But what I really learned from that was, wow, rather than being a rock star and being, everyone thinks I'm bloody awesome,
which we do.
Thanks very much. I was getting a different type of approval, and it was a very altruistic, and I wasn't doing it for approval. I noticed that people were saying, you've done a great job. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's just what you do, and it was a very different feeling. And so I think for the next 11 years, I was like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I just got to do good. I have to do good. And I've always been a good person, but, I just wanted to do that more. I ended up working in a nursery because I thought, well, I can grieve behind the plants. What a stupid thing. No one will notice me.
I can cry into the leaves.
Yeah, behind the palm tree, and nobody will see me. And I did that. The boss was an absolute horror, just screaming at everybody. And one day I bloody thought, I've had enough of you. And I locked her in the shed. And somebody let her out. I saw her in Coles a few days later. But, I just sort of had a few jobs like that. And eventually when I was younger, I went to Luna Park. Dad was in the Lions Club and he took some people with disabilities to Luna Park on the bus. And I was playing footy. This is when I was about 10 with a kid with Down syndrome. And I thought, I love this kid. I just love these people. Like, what is it about them that's so cool? And I left it alone. But at this time in my life later, I decided, what? I'm going to quit everything. I'm going to go and learn about disability, and I'm going to work in the disability field. Anyway, long story short, I became a teacher in disability. So I taught people to work in the field, teaching Cert 4 and diploma in disability. And I ended up becoming a behaviour and autism specialist, talking in schools, training. People were saying, fix these kids. And I'm like, nothing wrong with the kids.
Nothing to fix, mate.
The system's completely screwed.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it ends up being that I wrote my first book, Magnificent Kids, and it's not about autism or behaviour. It's just about kids doing fantastic things, because I started to realise that if we don't focus on kids, adults, it's too late. I don't want to say that categorically, but, we got to start working on kids and that sort of stuff. Now, do you want me to take a breath so you can ask a question there?
No. It's just about because your business, you obviously started as postie, and now your business is workshops and facilitation. So how did you decide to do that, on a bigger scale?
Yeah. So when I was teaching disability, I always thought I was going to be a teacher. And so when I left high school, I was going to be a teacher, but I got a job in Safeway or Woolies back then, for $75 a week. And I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire on this rate. So I didn't go back to school to do year 12. I thought, I'm going to keep this money coming in, Anyway, I spent it all on guitars and God knows what. So I never became a millionaire through that. But
did you become a rock star?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, rock star, yeah. Actually, it's I was kicked out of the school choir because I couldn't sing. I was kicked out of the high school musical because I couldn't sing. Well, that's what they said. But I made thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from singing. And one of my songs in particular is used worldwide on so many animal rights, for so many animal rights organizations. And, it's like, and I've played with some international acts, and it's just, yeah, I did okay, yeah. But I think, and then with the disability teaching, I started to realise how much influence I can have, and positive influence, not just, hey, look at me, I can tell you what to do and you'll do it. It was like I was noticing that people were changing their lives because I was investing this genuine passion into what I was doing, and realised how easy it was. Teaching was really easy for me. It was a natural knack. So anyway, so then there's the book, and then Magnificent Kids, and that led to, long story, I'm not going to tell it, but anyway, it ended up with a guy in Africa, and I started One Planet Classrooms as a Skype project. I thought, how fantastic, the kids in Africa can Skype with the kids in Australia. And what a disaster. It was an absolute failure. And I love this story because people think that, I've got to get it right. I've got to be perfect. I've got to get all my ducks in a row. And, if I fail, I'm terrible, but how it turned out is that, oh my God, trying to get laptops into Africa was an absolute nightmare. But the kids in Africa were in school when the kids in Australia were asleep, so it was never going to work. But I sent laptops to a country where 95% of them didn't even have power. So that's one of my problems is I jump in without thinking, strap yourself in, because if you're coming with me, you just got to jump. But what I realized is that all these girls were, kids were dying from drinking dirty water and girls were being sexually assaulted fetching water. So I thought I had a choice. I either say I failed or I started putting in water tanks and connecting clean water and putting in water wells so that the girls didn't have to. So I'm still doing that. And there's a sponsorship program as well. Plus there's a lot of women's empowerment projects and that type of thing. So it's great. And then in 2018, I started Girls with Hammers, and that was just everything's been by default. Everything's just been by me jumping and saying something stupid, but it's turned out fantastic. I was at an International Women's Day event, and the cards on the table, and it was I will stand up for women. I will speak out, and I just thought, they're a bit wincy, because I was thinking, who doesn't do that? That's just we should be doing that. Then I found one card and it said, I will launch a purposeful female-focused initiative. I thought, wow, there's a challenge. So I got up on stage in front of 300 women, waving the banner, and they're all cheering. And I thought, oh, hell, I've got to do it.
I'm going in.
So anyway, I started Girls with Hammers with my partner, and it's just conferences for women, to empower them, to connect them, and we do them each year in Gippsland, but that will expand globally. And anyway, so all of that sort of got me talking around the world, to conferences and all sorts of stuff, and showing people, what you could do, and particularly what you can do with no money. And so
Kerryn's specialty.
No, that's true. Like I don't have degrees in any of this, like any community. Like the community stuff I do in Africa, I don't have a degree in that. I don't have any of that, and I'm not bloody rich. So it's.
So you got bucket loads of energy.
Yeah, thank God.
That's what Kerryn's got. If you've ever been in a room with Kerryn, it's like it vibrates.
Thank God. But it's anyway, a guy says to me, can you do a workshop on how to start up a project? So I said, oh well, I suppose I can do that. And as I was doing the workshop, it occurred to me that there were so many things I couldn't fit in 2 hours, or in an hour, actually it was. And by the way, I'm an over-deliverer. I got to give everything, I want everything. And so I said, give me your email and I'll send you a PDF of a whole lot of other stuff. As I started writing all this other stuff, I thought, oh, gee, they need to know about that. Oh, they need to know about that. Oh, what about that? That would be helpful. Before I knew it, in 4 weeks, I had a book. And, I look back at it now and I think, oh, God, there's a few things I probably would have written different. But if we sit and procrastinate and try to be perfect, we'll never get the damn thing done. So the gist of it is perfect. So I did that, and then I started doing workshops. But I was doing tons. I've been doing tons of team building and all that stuff for years, But so my get off the bench workshops are helping people kickstart projects, and I do that all around the world. And a couple of my favourite ones I work with the university in Florida, and that's with people with autism. Helping them get businesses off the ground. And I also work in 92 countries around the world. I'm helping kickstart climate change projects, and I know nothing about climate change other than it's a real issue and I'm passionate about it. And so I help them to get my specialty is helping them to get it kickstarted. So I think that answers your question. There's always too much information.
It's always, but it just shows that it's that whole thing of one person with a vision.
Yeah.
And then working not just one-on-one, but with groups of people can then just amplify that message hugely. But you've got to go out and do it.
Yeah.
And that's get off the bench.
Yep. And I think, for my, talking about me getting off the bench, it's takes courageous action. You can have an idea, but if you want it to be global and you want it to impact a lot of people, you've got to have that courage to reach out to someone, say, hey, listen, I do this. Is this something you'd like to do? And, tell people what you do. And I've been incredibly guilty at not doing that, because I am pretty humble, and it doesn't sound like it when I'm, telling all about my life, but I don't try and sell myself, and it's
yeah, I know you are incredibly humble. It's like I do it in 92 countries. I'm like, oh yeah, low key, Kiss.
Oh wow.
It is so incredibly humble, because it's like some people would be so rah about that, I'm global, I'm this and that, and instead you're like, I'm just getting the doing done. You're just sitting there quietly in Gippsland. We're both Gippslanders, which is how I know you. Just tapping away at our keyboards, just making connections and getting things done. And you don't have to be rah about things to have a massive impact. No,
I do share when I do stuff that I love. When I do workshops, I put on LinkedIn and that. And it's not about, hey, look at me. It is just about, guys, look, here's another group that's ready to rock the world. I'm so freaking happy. That's the energy that I love. It's like, I want to share that you can get out and reach groups, because I want other people to get out and reach groups or individuals. Like every single one of us is incredible. We're all magnificent. We're all got unique skills and strengths, and we've all got a message that somebody needs to hear, and I just want to inspire and motivate people to put their thing out in the world. I don't want to compete with them or any shit like that. I just want people, put your stuff out in the world, and those who need you, they can't find you if you don't put your stuff out. They can't.
Yeah, I talk about that all the time, because it's not just about your energy. It's also about your message. It's about your energy, and you could be the person that ends up being the catalyst for that person's idea to come to life just by the way you show up.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely believe in that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, tell me, Kerryn, about your amazing life, because you've got quite a menagerie, and how you manage your life, and as managing your business, managing your life, partner, kids, donkeys.
Yeah. How do I manage my life? Okay, I've got a very flexible partner, so thank God for that. But so I've got 11 acres in Sale, and we've got 4 rescue cows, 2 rescue donkeys. We did have 2 rescue dogs. We just lost our beautiful Bernese a few weeks ago, which is so tragic. And we've got 5 cats, and they're mostly all strays. They've just wandered in, and we've just taken them in, and they're like, I like this house. And so we've got a mixed family. My partner's got 2 kids, so I've got 2 step teenagers, and one's just got his license and a full-time job. I know. Tell me about it. I think I put on Facebook, don't be a dick, Yeah.
How's Nikki coping with that? I'm not looking forward to that.
So there's so much to do, and no, it's not. No, I'm not. It's terrifying, but you know what? You have to, we did it. We found our independence, and all you can do is subtle reminders. That's why I put on that. Yeah, that's why I put on that post. We've got a lot of years. We want to love you still, because if it's all about drive carefully, do this, do that. There, anyway. So, but I think I make big. I get up in the morning and I dance, or I walk or run, or I go and do at least half an hour of exercise. And I reckon that really, really makes a difference for the day. And I've just got this thing, I'm terrible at being distracted, right? I really am. So I've got a big to-do list, and I pick 3 things off it, and I take them off and I write them on a separate bit. And I'm like, I've got to get those 3 things done, And if I'm having one of those days that is very unproductive, like I cannot get my head together, I have this little system that I do is say, right, now what's one more thing. And then I do that one thing and I say, yes, did it. And then I'm like, now, what's one more thing? So I'm not sort of getting this to-do list. I love that. I love that process. But I also, we spend our weekends. We make sure our weekends are on the farm. And I don't know. I don't know how I fit it, to be honest. There's so much I want to do that I can't do, like have weekends away and that sort of stuff. But because at the moment. Anyway. No, I know. No. So I think it's just, yeah.
It's just one more thing. It's just getting one thing done. Hey?
Yeah. I think that's the key. And that's something I teach in my workshops is just take one step at a time. Just do that one thing, whatever it is. Every one thing we do is just a bit closer to
the end.
Well, you do one thing and 5 more get added to your list.
Yeah, I've got a list. My list is, I'm like, I have to get, because it's so easy to slip into that overwhelm. I want to do all these things, but it's that thing of we overestimate what we can do in a year and in a week, or underestimate what we can do in a year, sort of thing. And one more thing, just one step at a time.
Yeah.
And I get easily distracted and overwhelmed. And so how then, what's a great day? What do you do every day, in business that's fun? What's a great day in the office for you?
Oh, a great day for me is not in the office. A great day for me is out, facilitating a group. Yeah, I love it. And I guess I think the other thing too, and I'm so lucky, is I spent all those years on stage. I've had 43 years on stage. And I don't sing anymore, by the way. I had my thyroid out. I can't sing anymore. It just doesn't bloody work. But which is disappointing, and I've just started getting back into music again because I noticed that was something that actually making me feel quite down, and I couldn't work out what it was, but it's the lack of music. But I think being on stage, being up front, is it's my sandpit. I love it. People say to me, "You're such an extrovert," and I'm actually not. I'm an
you
ambivert.
And I are similar like that.
Yeah, and it's they say like an extrovert, you're supercharged by people. No, I'm not. I'm supercharged if I'm on stage. But if I'm in a group, oh my God, please get me home so I can get to sleep. It's if I'm in the middle of a group. So yes, that's my perfect day, is on stage anywhere. I don't care what's not. Yes.
Anywhere. But it's funny because you and I, we met through the Startup Gippsland mentoring group. Yeah. And you and I, there'd be a bunch of us, we're the mentors, sitting up the back, coming up with ideas. And it's that when you're in that very focused sort of environment of where we spent the weekends nutting out other people's businesses, it's that's totally my happy place. But then once I go home after a weekend, Monday and Tuesday, don't talk to me. Don't come near me. I don't want to know. I'm going into my cave and I'm closing the rock to recharge. And that's the difference, because someone's talking about extrovert and introvert the other day, and it's extroverts get more energy by being around people. Introverts get discharge their energy by being around people. And that's how you and I are similar.
Yeah.
But And
but I think when you got the stage, you've got a little bit of a barrier, a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah.
You control the energy.
Yeah. When we're up, we're up.
Yeah.
And I love that, because it's people assume that because you show up, or you're on video, you've got a podcast, or you're on YouTube, whatever, that you are an extrovert and you have this boundless energy. But it actually still takes me, well, I don't feel sick before I do podcasts anymore. I don't get nervous, but it still takes me to do a video. I've got to psych myself up. It's not something I just go click, put the camera on, done. I'm ritual, not rituals, but meditation. And you and I have had conversations about spirituality before. So those rituals, do you bring any of those rituals into your day?
No, I talk to the universe. I have to say, I talk to the universe, and I know some people are going to find that woo-woo.
I love it, but it
freaking works. It works.
I can have entire conversations.
Yeah. I say, universe, this is what I need. And the problem is I keep forgetting to ask, because dead set, I'll tell you honestly that everything is everything comes that I asked for. But my problem is I get so distracted, I forget to ask, and then I get so frustrated and overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, far out. And then I'm like, oh, God, ask the universe, and so I use that as one thing. But when you said something a second ago about switching on, for me, I think because I've been on stage for so many years, the minute I step on, I'm on, and when I'm going to do a video, because I do a lot of videos as well, I just like, oh, got to get that video done, and I give my camera to my partner, hold this, and then I just go, I know I didn't realize until lately how damn lucky I am, because I've heard a lot of people say what you're saying lately.
Yeah. If you asked me to get on stage, I would be physically sick and probably wouldn't sleep for 6 months before.
Oh, you won't get me off it. You'll be trying to hold me back.
Dragging Kerryn off. Let's do karaoke. That'd be fun. Oh, I normally ask about business tools. So talking to the universe is a tool.
Yeah. Business tools, I'm a bit of an avoider of business plans. And I know that's most business owners would be like, oh, Jesus, that's not a good thing. But
I don't have a business plan.
I can't, I have a plan. So like I have goals, I want to, and I don't write them down. I just know what they are in my head. I want to get this done. I want to get that done. So for example, I'm writing another book, and, I'll spend like, maybe just 20 minutes every morning. That's it, and I just type a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then I just let it go. I just leave it alone when I'm like, not much else is happening, and then I just let it go. So I do that. But I've got a lot of stuff like, of course I've got the normal, your website, your calendar, and all those kind of normal tools. One tool I particularly love is Otter. And
so do I.
Oh my God. It's an app on your phone or I've actually up to the paid one now, because
I'm on paid. I have it on my Zoom. It's amazing.
I haven't connected to Zoom, but I'll tell you what, I drop podcasts in, or I drop any audio or video file in, and it gives me a transcript. It's not perfect, you still have to fix it. But how I really love to use it on my phone is I get my best ideas while I'm driving.
Me too.
Yeah, and it's like just hit the button and record. And then you just email it to yourself, and you've got this whole transcript. And I've written chapters of books, and I've written entire workshops, just by all the way from Sale to Warragul.
Well, because you and I live so far from everywhere, it's like, get in the car. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'll just talk for an hour and a half.
You listen to a podcast, you get an inspiration, think, oh, geez. Oh, I've just unlocked that bit I've been thinking about for ages. Damn, there's my workshop. Yeah.
It's funny, these tools, because one of the things I have conversations with clients, and they go, oh, I can't write posts, whatever. And it's like, just do voice to text even.
Yeah.
Just this word vomit comes out, and then you can edit.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect the first time. And I think we get so caught up in that.
Yeah.
And
so do I.
Yeah. And I said to someone the other day, you want to see imperfection? Go and look at my first YouTube videos in 2018. So one of the things I always ask about is imposter syndrome. So how do you deal with the bad days in business, in life, when you're feeling
Yeah. I talk to my partner, that's one thing, and I say, this is how I'm feeling. And I don't do it in a defensive, victim-y way. It's kind of like, I'm feeling like this. Why would I be feeling like this? And then we have a bit of conversation about it, and that's, it's usually over and done with. However, when I'm on my own in my office, which is all day, every day, unless I'm out, it's I've got a folder, and it's just a normal, your normal binder folder, and with plastic sleeves in it. And so every time I do something, I I have a photo, and I do print it out. Sorry about that, but it's and I put in a sleeve, and I flick through it. I'm like, no, I'm not an imposter. What are you talking about? Look at all this stuff you've done. All right, shut the book and get on with it. So. But imposter syndrome, I think that people need to understand is that Meryl Streep, gets imposter and says, who would want to watch me on a movie? And my Angela, Angela, whatever, every time she'd write a book, she'd say, I'm going to be found out soon. Somebody's going to find out that I'm not who I, there's just so many famous people who.
And that's why I talk about it, because so many people assume it's just them.
No.
It's like, no, babe, you're not alone.
No.
It's
everybody. except the only people who don't feel it are the true imposters.
And the psychopaths.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it won't be the same. Yeah.
So how do you maintain your sense of community? I touched on having Zoom chats with the Dalai Lama, but I've never found out why you have conversations with the Dalai Lama. So is he part of your community, your inner circle?
No, that was only once. That was only, it's now I was just, I'm part of a group, One Better World Collective, and as an amazing man, Ian Spears, lives in Canada. And so he invited me to be part of that. It wasn't me chatting with the Dalai Lama. It was 13 change makers. It was just a nice little
intimate group.
It was an intimate group, yeah. And it's I think that so Ian's got this amazing community that I'm part of. So I'm kind of connected to all those people. Now, these are the change makers. I'm not talking about everyday people, which is just as important to me, that I've got around me. And, I like with the climate change, I'm great mates with Ash Pachuri, and he runs the Protect Our Planet movement. So he runs all those 92 countries. So because we're friends, where he says, oh, can you do my group in so-and-so, let's do England, let's do rah. And so I think it's about, really, really maintaining friendships with key people. Now, when I'm going to just come back and say something on that. It's not about finding key people, sucking up to them, and then what can you do for me? Do you know, it's
I can't imagine you sucking up to anybody.
No, I don't suck up to people.
It's so not your style.
Because if you're not up, if you're fake and you're not up my alley, forget it. We're not going to
be friends.
No, but it's kind of like it's the fact that you just love what they're doing and you just want to give. You just want to support it. You just want to put your energy into that, because you know that by stepping into that kind of group of people, you're going to amplify your message, you're going to help amplify their message, and it's just shortcuts, connecting to more people and making bigger change. And look, at the end of the day, we got whatever you believe in reincarnation, whatever you believe in second lives, third lives, and evolution, I don't know, whatever you believe, we've only got one crack at this life, and I reckon leave it better than you found it. Just leave it better than you found it. So that's, but I'm also connected to, Startup Gippsland, which we are, some amazing people in there. And, they're not Dalai Lama and God knows what, but they're amazing people with the right energy, with the passion to make a difference. And, that's so important. And we've got so many women, great women in Gippsland, that we're all connected to each other. And if not firsthand, it's, that 1 degree of separation.
Literal 1 degree of separation. It's like, you want this? Hang on, I know someone who can do that. And it's just this amazing network throughout Gippsland.
And it's always kindness. I'm going to say that too, is that you always inject kindness. And anybody who goes into networking to meet someone to, what can you give me? I think it's wrong. I think it's the wrong approach. And I think, it's what can I do for you, or just don't, just be in conversation with that person, just be kind, just be sharing the space with them, simply because you're enjoying their company. That's, and it'll come back tenfold, and even if it doesn't matter, because you can sleep at night, you can.
Yeah. My granddad always said, he was another Gippslander, you've always got to be able to lay straight in your bed.
Yep. Always.
Yeah. And he was a South Gippslander.
Now, I don't know if that answered your question. But
It did. I was just talking about community, and it's like there's so many different ways to get community. And just because we're all online now, we have had the privilege in the last 12 months of actually getting together in person. But online communities are just as valid.
Yes.
You don't need to be isolated, even if you live in Whoop like I do.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm part of a couple of mastermind groups too. And, you know, I just you know, business groups, and I don't know, but some work for me, some don't, you know, and if they don't work for me after a year, I just drop out. But
I'm out, yeah,
yeah,
I'm in a couple of really beautiful like business groups, masterminds, and they light you up. They got to light you up.
Yeah. And if they don't, you got to question why you're in there. Am I in here because of FOMO? You know, because if I'm
forcing
not here,
myself,
yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? So this could be a very big question when I ask you this, but what's your why? What keeps you motivated in doing what you're doing, which is you're so purpose driven. So unleash the Kerryn.
I'd like, you're probably thinking I've got a 3-hour conversation here, but no, it's simple. It's I just want to make a better world. My why is that I want to plant trees that I will never sit in the shade of, you know, and just build a better world for future generations. It's so simple, and it's every morning I get up to do that, and it's actually all I ever think about. It's my brain is filled with, how can I make things better? How can I do something better? How can I help somebody? It's not just about me. How can I change the world? How can I empower and inspire somebody else to step into their magnificence so that they can add a good footprint? So that's it. Simple.
I love it. It's beautiful and it's simple. So what are your top tips for all the smart women and men? It turns out a lot of people listen to this podcast across the world. It used to be across Australia, but it's shout out to the person in Iceland who binged about 20 episodes the other day.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. My top tips are, well, my biggest one is just get off the bench. I mean, you know, I'm just going to say that till the bloody cows come home. Get off the bench. Like, I think, you know, the biggest tips is that, you know, everybody has imposter syndrome. You'll never get, I'll just reel them off, okay?
Yeah.
So you might as well just do it anyway, because you're going to feel it whether you do it or don't do it. You know, in 1 year, will you be glad you did or wish you did or glad you did? And, you know, you should be glad you did. You know, back yourself, 100% back yourself, because you can do more than you think you can do. Don't take constructive criticism from people who've never constructed anything. You know, like, you know, and all the people that criticize you are see, all my stuff's about feeling, you know, but or the people who criticize you are not the ones in the ring with you. You know, find people who are in the ring, in the arena, who have had the blood and the bloody bruises and the battering and have failed over and over again. They're the ones that are going to support you. You know, the other people sitting on the sidelines throwing rocks at you, they're not the ones doing the hard work. So they're not the ones that we should be paying attention to. You know, be kind to yourself is another thing. And sometimes it is okay just to say, I can't do this. I'm going to drop this, you know, or sit on the bloody couch and have a coffee and say, I'm having a breath. And, you know, I think it's just all that kind of stuff. It's just being kind to others, kind to yourself, and consider that every single person has something magnificent, unique, and a message that somebody else in this world needs to hear. And I can't say that strongly enough. Everyone has something that somebody else needs to hear. And don't hold your message back. Like, get it out there and just start. Oh, there's my number one tip. Just put the first paver down and step on that bloody thing, because, you know, everyone's going to be overwhelmed and no one knows where to start. So just start with anything. Put that thing down and step on that. And the universe will just keep plonking the next ones down, and, you know, talk to the universe.
Just have a chat. See what the next aligned action is. You'll be fine.
Yeah. I know. I think they're good tips.
Yeah, they're brilliant. Oh, I love that everyone comes to this pod differently. And as I said to you before we came on air, it's totally a free flow conversation. We never know where it's going to go. And that's the fun of it, because, like, I always sort of come back to the same questions, but you never know what's going to come out of someone's mouth. And that's the fun. That's what life is. It's unpredictable and it's messy and it's chaotic, but take the next step. So, Kerryn, if people want more Kers in their life, what are your links? And I'll put them in the show notes. How can they find you?
Yeah, I think the best thing is just go to kerrynvaughan.com. So KERRYNVAUGHAN. That was way too fast. .com, and you can email me through that, and there's Get Off the Bench Facebook and Get Off the Bench Instagram and LinkedIn. I love people connecting through LinkedIn just under Kerryn Vaughan. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kerryn. It's been a pleasure.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks heaps, Jane.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Women in Business podcast. If you'd like access to the show notes, please visit my website, janemackaycommunications.com.au/blog. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to hear more, please don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, keep on being a smart woman in business.